Have you ever look at something and it just feels too big, a challenge, that you wonder, like, what would it take to really get over that hump?
It's amazing how often just taking things step by step, but having a vision can get you to those big achievements.
And speaking of visions, we have a pretty fascinating development to dig into today. You sent over this transcript of the event from Aviation International News on their YouTube channel. It was all about this unveiling of a brand new helicopter, the R88 from Robinson, their biggest yet.
Yeah, this is a really big deal. I mean, Robinson, they've been the king of the light helicopter market forever, it seems like. So for them to come out with a totally new design after almost 20 years, I mean, that's something. It tells you where they think things are going in the vertical lift world.
For sure. So this all happened in Dallas on March 9th, just before that big Vertical Aviation International show, the Verticon show. And it sounds like Robinson knew they were making history, right? Their CEO, David Smith, even called it a historic evening, not just for Robinson, but for the whole vertical lift industry. I mean, those are strong words.
Yeah, no kidding. He was basically saying this kicks off their next 50 years of innovation, building on everything they've done in the last 50. And for a company like Robinson, with their reputation and everything, that kind of statement, that long-term view, it says a lot. They're really committed to this new aircraft, and they're clearly thinking about what it means for the future.
And it wasn't all about the future, though. Smith also talked about all the work they've been doing behind the scenes, like really getting the company ready for this. Apparently, they've made some major changes just in the past year to get stronger.
The interesting thing to think about is the foundation they've built. Like, they doubled their engineering staff, for example. And they've been putting a ton of money into making their products even better. That tells me they've been planning for this R88 for a while. It wasn't just a sudden idea. It took resources and a lot of prep work.
I see what you mean. And they're not slowing down. It sounds like 2025 is going to be another big year. They're planning to make their factory even better, improve customer service, and they even talked about new partnerships. United Therapeutics, Rotor Technologies, Data Blanket. Those were just a few of the names they mentioned. Who knows what else they're cooking up?
Yeah, and if you look at the bigger picture, these partnerships are really important clues about Robinson's overall plan. For instance, working with United Therapeutics, that shows they're serious about using vertical lift for things like, organ delivery, pushing the limits of what's possible.
Right. Makes sense. And the other partnerships, what do you make of those?
Well, it's likely they're bringing in specialists, experts in areas that Robinson wants to get better at. It's all about combining their strengths.
And this is where things get really interesting. Last year, they bought this company called Ascent Aerosystems. They build those coaxial UAS, those drones. A pretty different direction for Robinson, don't you think? Or at least a big expansion of what they do.
If you think about how aviation is changing, it's actually a smart move. Unmanned stuff, it's only getting bigger, right? So for them to get involved now, it could be huge. Maybe a way to offer more types of aircraft. Who knows what kind of cool tech they could come up with by combining their expertise.
It's pretty exciting to think about. Smith also made a point of talking about their network of dealers and service centers. He called it one of their strongest advantages. It sounds like they really take pride in supporting their customers.
For sure. When you're a global company like Robinson, having a reliable support system is essential. If you're thinking about buying one of these helicopters, you want to know that if something goes wrong, you can get it fixed. No matter where you are in the world, there's someone who can help you out. And that's a big deal, especially compared to some of the newer companies who don't have that kind of network yet. It gives you peace of mind.
Makes sense. Now, switching gears a bit, the transcript mentions this Climb Higher video series. It's less about the nuts and bolts of a new helicopter and more about showing how their customers are actually using their current models every day.
Yeah, this is where it gets real. We're talking real-world applications. They showed examples of flight training in Arizona, agricultural operations in Australia, police work in Florida, all sorts of things. It really shows you just how versatile and dependable Robinson helicopters are, how they're being used in all these different demanding roles.
Totally. It's not just about selling helicopters. It's about showing how they help people get things done effectively and affordably. And with almost 14,000 helicopters delivered around the world, it's clear they've built a lot of trust with their customers. They understand what people need.
Think about it. That's not just some number. That's years and years of experience. They've seen how their helicopters are being used in all sorts of situations all over the world. That kind of real-world feedback, it's invaluable. It probably played a big role in how they designed the R88.
Absolutely. So after all that, they introduced their new mission statement. Leading vertical lift innovation, we are advancing rotorcraft and broadening access to the skies. It sounds like the R88 is a perfect example of that, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. It's not just about making helicopters, it's about shaping the future of vertical flight. They want to make it more accessible to everyone. And the things they mentioned, their core values, dependability, accessibility, self-reliance, these were key to their success in the light helicopter market. And it sounds like they're carrying those same values into the R88.
And it's not just traditional helicopters either. They're really getting into new types of propulsion, like hydrogen power. They're actually working with United Therapeutics to develop a hydrogen-powered helicopter, specifically for organ delivery.
Yeah, and that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Combining cutting-edge technology with this really important need. It shows you what's possible for the future, how we can use clean energy for transportation. The quote from Michael Cardell, he's from Unicor, he really captures how inspiring this project is and how it could change healthcare logistics.
It's a powerful image, thinking about these helicopters carrying, such precious cargo. And then there's a story about Operation Hilo after Hurricane Helen hit. Apparently, tons of privately owned Robinson helicopters were used for rescue efforts in North Carolina.
Right. Really shows you how these helicopters can be used in a crisis.
Exactly.
So Matt McCain, he put out a call for help, and tons of Robinson helicopters showed up. They rescued people, they delivered supplies. I mean, it was incredible. They saved so many lives and delivered tons and tons of supplies. Really shows you how useful these helicopters can be, and it highlights the strong community around Robinson. And the interesting thing is, McCain said they could have really used a bigger helicopter. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah, that's a perfect example of the need they're trying to address with the R88, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they actually say that in the transcript, too. More capabilities, more capacity, and more reach. That's what they said.
Exactly. They know that their current helicopters are great for what they do, but sometimes you just need something bigger, something that can do more. And they wanted to offer a larger helicopter that still had all the things that make Robinson helicopters great. Affordable, easy to maintain, and super safe.
Makes sense. And they see this R88 as a really versatile aircraft, suitable for all sorts of missions. Firefighting, air ambulance, utility work, even tourism. It sounds like they're trying to build a real jack of all trades.
And that's a big plus if you're thinking about buying one. The more things it can do, the more useful it is to you, and the more cost-effective. One helicopter for all your needs, that's the idea.
So let's get into the details, shall we? What can you tell me about this machine?
Okay, well, the R88, it's officially the largest and most capable aircraft that we've designed. That's what they said. And when you look at the features, it's hard to argue with them. Standard skids, 2 feet off the ground, which is pretty good. Optional high skids if you need them, especially for those firefighting water tanks. Big sliding doors, so it's easy to get people and cargo in and out. And get this, it has a rear door that folds down like a truck bed.
A truck bed. That's pretty cool. I've never heard of a helicopter with a door like that.
Yeah, it's a clever design, especially if you need to load a stretcher or something bulky. And even though it's bigger, it still uses Robinson's high-performance tail rotor and the 2-bladed main rotor system.
So same tech they use in their other helicopters.
Right. That system has been proven to work, it's reliable, and it helps to keep the costs down. So it makes sense to use it for a larger model.
Okay, that makes sense. Now what about capacity? How many people can it carry?
10. 2 crew members and up to 8 passengers. That's a big jump from their other models. And they've designed the cabin so you can configure it in different ways. Flat floor, different seating arrangements, all depending on what you need.
Very nice. So it could be a passenger transport, an air ambulance, all kinds of things.
Exactly. And don't forget about the payload. It can lift up to 8,800 pounds with a full tank of fuel. And the range is over 350 nautical miles. That's pretty impressive. Plus, they've added new LED lights on the outside, so it's safer and easier to see, especially at night.
All right, so it sounds like they really thought of everything, from safety to versatility to performance.
They really have. And if you're thinking about buying a helicopter in this class, those numbers are definitely something to consider.
Okay, so let's move on to the cockpit. What's new there?
Well, one of the big things is they've added dual cyclic controls.
Dual cyclic controls. What does that mean exactly?
It means there are 2 sets of controls, so the pilot in command can fly from either side. And you can even remove one set of controls if you need to.
Oh, I see. So it's more flexible for training or if you have a specific mission that requires it.
Right, and they're going to have it certified for single pilot IFR operations, so you can fly it in more kinds of weather.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the avionics? What kind of systems are they using?
They've partnered with Garmin for the avionics, which is a good sign. Garmin makes top-notch stuff, so it looks like it'll have a really comprehensive suite, big touchscreen displays, integrated navigation, and even a new crew alerting system built into the G500H TXI displays.
This is very modern, easy-to-use cockpit.
Exactly. And that new crew alerting system, it's really important for safety. It's basically like a heads-up display that tells the pilots what's going on with the helicopter systems, if something needs attention. So they're always aware of what's happening. Oh, and that federated architecture they talked about, it basically means that the different parts of the avionics system are more independent, which makes it easier to fix things and upgrade things later on, which is really good for you.
Oh, that's smart. So less downtime if something needs fixing.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. What else?
Well, they're including a 4-axis autopilot as standard equipment, and it has all sorts of safety features built in, like level mode, hover assist, and protections against low speed, high speed, and low altitude conditions. So it basically helps to keep you out of trouble.
Very cool. So it takes some of the workload off the pilot and makes it safer to fly.
Exactly. Autopilots are becoming more and more important these days, especially for these types of missions. They act as a backup and they can prevent accidents, especially if you're flying in challenging conditions.
And speaking of safety, they've also got a data recording system, which comes standard. And it has data link capabilities, so you can send the data back to the ground. And they're including HEMS, a health and usage monitoring system.
Oh, yeah. HEMS is great. It's like a fitness tracker for your helicopter. It keeps track of all the important stuff like engine performance, vibration levels, all kinds of things. And it can actually predict potential problems before they even happen.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. And it means less downtime and lower maintenance costs for you. It's all about being proactive.
Makes sense. So they're really focusing on safety and efficiency. And it sounds like they've made a lot of features standard that are often optional on other helicopters.
That's right. Things like air conditioning, an inlet barrier filter to protect the engine, impact-resistant windshields, adjustable seats, and controls for the pilot. They've really gone all out.
And those windshields, they mentioned something about meeting Part 29 transport category safety standards. What does that mean?
Basically, it means they're super tough. They have to pass some really strict tests to make sure they can withstand impacts.
Wow, that's impressive. It sounds like they've really thought of everything.
They have. And that's good news for you, whether you're the pilot or a passenger.
Now let's talk about the engine. What's powering this beast?
So they partnered with Safran helicopter engines, and the R88 will use the Safran Arriel 2W.
Okay, and is that a good engine? What's its reputation?
Oh, yeah. The Arriel family of engines, they're legendary. They've been used in helicopters all over the world for years, and they've racked up over 66 million flight hours.
Oh.
So, yeah, you can trust them. They're reliable, and they're powerful.
66 million flight hours. That's incredible.
It is. And it gives you confidence knowing that this engine has been tested and proven in all kinds of situations.
Absolutely. So what about engine support? What happens if something goes wrong?
Well, here's something really interesting. They're including this thing called the Serenity package, and it's an industry first. It's a 2,000-hour, 5-year engine support program.
Okay, and what does that mean?
It means you get direct support from Safran, the engine manufacturer, for 5 years or 2,000 hours, whichever comes first.
Yeah.
And it's included in the base price of the helicopter.
Wow, that sounds like a great deal. No unexpected costs for engine maintenance?
Right, and that's a big deal, because engine maintenance can be expensive. So knowing that you're covered for 5 years, that can really help with budgeting. And it gives you peace of mind knowing that you have the experts at Safran backing you up.
Yeah, that's huge. It sounds like Robinson really partnered with the right company for this.
Definitely. And David Smith actually thanked Cedric Goubet, the CEO of Safran Helicopter Engines, for listening to their customers and giving them an engine that's reliable, has great performance, and has predictable operating costs. He even said they're aiming for the lowest operating cost per pound of lift in its class. That's a big deal for operators.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, especially if you're running a business. So it sounds like they're really focusing on making this helicopter affordable to operate, not just to buy.
Exactly. And that's always been one of Robinson's strengths. They build helicopters that are reliable, they're easy to maintain, and they're relatively inexpensive to operate.
Right. Now, there was one other thing that David Smith mentioned that I wanted to ask you about. He talked about their former VP of engineering, Pete, who unfortunately passed away. And he said that the R88 embodies Pete's engineering principles.
Yeah, it's a nice tribute to him, and it shows that the engineering team at Robinson, they're still carrying on his legacy. And that's reassuring for customers. It means that the same expertise and attention to detail that went into Robinson's previous helicopters is still there.
Absolutely. So What's next for the R88? When can people actually start flying it?
Well, the next step is certification. They need to get it type certified by the FAA, which means it has to pass a whole bunch of tests.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And how long does that usually take?
It can take a while, but Robinson's done this before, so they know what they're doing. And once it's certified, they're going to offer a whole bunch of mission equipment that's already type certified. Things like a cargo hook, a utility basket, a wire strike kit, pop-out floats, all sorts of stuff. So you can customize it for whatever you need.
Wow, that's pretty convenient. Sounds like they've thought of everything. What about performance? What kind of numbers are they expecting?
Well, they're saying it will have the best-in-class cabin size, over 275 cubic feet, and an internal payload of over 2,800 pounds. Endurance will be over 3.5 hours, and the range will be more than 350 nautical miles. So yeah, pretty impressive.
Very impressive. And it sounds like they're really upping their game in terms of interior design, too. They talked about a new design philosophy.
Yeah, it sounds like they're really focusing on making the interior more comfortable and functional for both the pilots and the passengers. Durable materials, easy to clean, a really versatile layout, and all of that contributes to safety.
Makes sense. A comfortable pilot is a safer pilot.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about price. How much is this thing going to cost?
They're aiming for $3.3 million for a well-equipped standard configuration. And they're saying this could be a real game changer. You know, it could shake things up in the single engine and even the twin engine market.
$3.3 million, huh? That's pretty
Yeah.
aggressive pricing, especially if you're comparing it to twin-engine helicopters.
Yeah, if they can deliver the performance and features they're promising at that price, it could be huge. It would give them a real edge.
Absolutely. So if anyone's interested in getting your hands on one, what should they do?
Well, they started taking deposits at Verticon, and they're fully refundable until the R88 is FAA certified.
So no risk.
Right. It's a smart way to get your name on the list and show them you're serious without having to commit a lot of money up front.
Makes sense. So to sum it all up, this R88, it's a pretty big deal. It's Robinson's biggest and most capable helicopter yet, packed with new features, designed to be really versatile, and still sticking to their philosophy of affordability and reliability. Plus, they've got these big partnerships with Safran and Garmin.
Totally. And it's not just about adding a new helicopter to their lineup. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible. They're really trying to make a difference in the industry and potentially for you too.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening, think about what this new helicopter could mean for the industry you're in or for things that you're interested in. Emergency medical services, utility work, law enforcement, even tourism. This R88, with its capabilities and its price, it could really open up some new doors.
It's all about potential. You know, how will these advancements like the R88 and even hydrogen-powered flight change things in the long run? How will they affect transportation, emergency response, and all sorts of other things? What kind of new opportunities will they create? That's the exciting part.
It is exciting. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks for taking this deep dive into the R88 with me. It's always fascinating to see what's happening in the world of aviation.
Absolutely. My pleasure.